around to dispose of the body that it was making a sound like,
That, we're not going to find Christian Aguilar, or you and I both know that Christian Aguilar is not coming home.
At Doral Academy High, you can easily find standout graduate Christian Aguilar's picture by the Post-it note below it. It reads, "Come back safe."
With Pedro arrested, investigators continue the search for Christian Aguilar's remains.
We have some teachers that had Christian as a student last year, and we have other teachers that are just concerned because it's one of our Doral kids.
Mr. True Crime.
In a place where dreams flourish and friendships bloom, darkness often lurks just beneath the surface. Gainesville, Florida, home to the University of Florida, is no exception. Beneath its sunny facade lies a chilling tale of betrayal, a narrative that forever changed the lives of those entangled in its web. Christian Aguilar, a bright and charismatic student, appeared to have it all: a loving family, a promising future, and friendships that seemed unbreakable. Yet behind the laughter and smiles simmered a tension that would soon erupt into tragedy. What began as a seemingly innocuous disagreement among friends morphed into a harrowing saga of jealousy, rage, and ultimately murder. As we explore the harrowing events that led to Christian Aguilar's tragic demise, one unsettling question looms: how can someone you trust transform into the very person who betrays you? This case reveals the chilling truth that the most profound threats often emerge from those we least expect. In the vibrant city of Gainesville, September 2012 would mark the beginning of a dark chapter. Christian, an ambitious student on the verge of greatness, remained blissfully unaware that the bonds of friendship could unravel into a deadly confrontation. As we delve into this complex narrative of jealousy and betrayal, you'll uncover how hidden motives can lead to unforeseen tragedies that forever alter lives. By the end, you'll grasp the devastating power of envy and the shocking events that thrust this case into the national spotlight. Join us as we peel back the layers of this unsettling tale, one that not only shattered lives, but left an entire community in disbelief. This is a poignant reminder that beneath the surface of camaraderie lies a darkness that can, tragically, consume us all. Born in 1993, Christian Aguilar grew up in a household filled with love and ambition. His parents, immigrants who had come to America with hopes for a brighter future, instilled in him the values of hard work and education, always encouraging him to dream big. Christian's academic record reflected his dedication. He excelled in school and was known as a bright, promising young man with a genuine warmth that made people feel seen and valued. In 2012, Christian took the next big step in his journey by enrolling at the University of Florida to pursue a degree in business management. Eager to make a difference, he threw himself into university life, making friends quickly and radiating a charm that made him instantly likable. Among these new friends was Pedro Bravo, a fellow student who, like Christian, shared a Latino heritage and a strong drive to succeed. Their bond was deep, rooted in shared experiences and cultural ties. However, beneath the surface, there were cracks in the friendship that few could have anticipated. While Christian seemed to thrive, Pedro harbored insecurities that would intensify as time went on. Christian's natural charisma often placed him at the center of attention, a role that came effortlessly to him. People gravitated toward his infectious smile, his kindness, and his willingness to be there for others. Pedro, however, often felt overshadowed, as Christian's vibrant personality only highlighted his own sense of inadequacy. As college life unfolded, these differences became more pronounced. Christian managed the pressures of school with ease, balancing academics with a rich social life. Pedro, on the other hand, struggled, feeling increasingly isolated and disconnected. This growing contrast in their lives and personalities would set the stage for a confrontation that would forever alter the lives of both young men and those who loved them. Pedro Bravo and Christian Aguilar shared more than just a friendship. They were schoolmates at Doral Academy Preparatory School. The three, including Erica Freeman, were in the same tight-knit group. But beneath the surface of this seemingly close bond, tensions were brewing. What no one could foresee was how this connection would eventually lead to a devastating betrayal. Erica first met Pedro in high school, and what began as a light-hearted relationship quickly turned into something more serious. Initially drawn to his sense of humor, Erica was captivated by Pedro's charm during their sophomore year. But as time passed, the cracks in their relationship began to show. By the time they were seniors, Pedro's behavior started to weigh heavily on Erica. He became increasingly clingy and emotionally dependent, and Erica found herself feeling stifled by his constant need for attention. Despite expressing a desire for space, Pedro was unable to accept it. His refusal to let go of their relationship turned into a troubling obsession. And even after Erica attempted to break things off, Pedro remained fixated on her. In the summer of 2012, Erica finally ended things for good. She was preparing for a fresh start at Santa Fe Community College in Gainesville, while Pedro, still unwilling to accept the breakup, spiraled more profoundly into a state of depression as he also prepared to start school at Santa Fe College. Rosa Filbert, Pedro's friend, explained this.
Planning to come here anyway because he got accepted to UF. Pedro came here for Erica.
Right. But when did Erica get accepted into UF?
She didn't get it. She goes to Santa Fe.
You said it a couple of times that Pedro moved up here for Erica.
Yeah.
And I can assume, but I'm not going to assume. You mean that because
he told me.
In what way? In other words, was he in love with Erica?
Yeah, they were in a 3-year relationship, almost 3-year relationship, and she broke up with him before the summer because she was gonna come up here, and so he came here kind of to like get her back.
Rosa tells us that I guess they were driving and Pedro saw you and stopped you. Did you see Pedro before that?
No, that was the first.
That was the first time you saw him.
That was the first time I saw him since he got up here.
Did he ask you about yours and Christian's relationship?
He did, and at that point, he was joking, like he was talking about killing himself.
Yeah.
He didn't even make jokes about it, and I was just at the point like, no, we're not really dating, we're just hanging out. I didn't know what to do. I told Christian later when I got home, I was like, listen, I didn't confirm that we were dating. I said that we're hanging out.
I was with him that day because we were like driving past UF and we saw her walking. So he kind of just got out of the car and followed her and they started talking. That was 2 weeks ago. He was okay with it.
Christian was accepted at the University of Florida. It was around this time that Christian, who had been friends with both Pedro and Erica for years, began to grow closer to Erica. Unlike Pedro, his relationship with Erica felt light, easy, and comfortable. Christian made Erica feel seen and appreciated, and their friendship, which had always been platonic, began to evolve into something more profound. For Erica, Christian represented a new beginning, someone who treated her with the kindness and respect she had long craved. However, this shift in dynamics created a volatile situation. Pedro, still deeply attached to Erica, couldn't stand the idea of her moving on, especially with his close friend. Jealousy, heartbreak, and resentment began to simmer beneath the surface. What had once been a tight bond between the three friends unraveled, setting the stage for tragedy. In the days leading up to Christian Aguilar's disappearance, Pedro Bravo reached out with an invitation to meet at the University of Florida campus. He framed the meetup as a way to clear the air and discuss any lingering tension between them, particularly regarding their shared history with Erica Freeman, Christian's girlfriend and Pedro's ex. Although Christian believed the meeting was a step toward reconciliation, Bravo's motives were far darker.
The thing about Chris, when he told me that he wanted to talk to Chris, was to kind of fix things because, you know, the whole thing was going on that, like, Chris knew that Pedro was mad about, like, possibly him going out with Erica, but Pedro thought they weren't going out because Erica said they weren't going out. So he just wanted to, like, kind of clear the air, kind of, dude, I'm sorry, like, this whole misunderstanding. So that's...
But it really wasn't a misunderstanding.
It wasn't.
In the weeks leading up to the tragic event, Pedro's behavior became more erratic. He would frequently reach out to Erica, attempting to win her back, while also harboring a growing hatred toward Christian. His obsession with Erica's new relationship consumed him, and the tension between him and Christian escalated into a deadly confrontation. On the evening of September 20th, 2012, Christian Aguilar's sudden disappearance took his loved ones by surprise. When Christian failed to respond to calls and texts, his girlfriend, Erica Freeman, grew worried. She repeatedly tried reaching out, but there was only silence. Concerned, she quickly reached out to Christian's family, hoping they'd heard from him, but they hadn't. Christian's father, filled with worry, called the University of Florida Police Department, reporting his son as missing.
My name is Carlos Aguilar, and I'm the parent of Christian Aguilar. He's a student over there at the university. His girlfriend has been trying to contact him since yesterday, and he's not answering. He normally responds to his girlfriend right away, and if she's so concerned about it, we are concerned right now. This is not his normal behavior, and I'm wondering if you guys can help us.
One of his friends are here right now reporting it also.
Her name is Erica, the one that is there?
No, this is a male friend of his.
On the other hand, Erica with Pedro Bravo reached out to Florida University Police Department. Meanwhile, Pedro Bravo stepped forward, claiming he'd been with Christian earlier that day. He became one of the first people to talk with investigators.
My name is Pedro Bravo.
Are you a student here?
No, I'm a student at 7th A. I don't know where he is right now. So he's not answering his phone.
Pedro claimed he and Christian had spent the day together, even stopping at Walmart to pick up a Kanye West CD. However, Pedro's story would only become more tangled as the investigation progressed.
At some point, Erica said that she just happened to run into Pedro. Didn't tell her, didn't say anything to Christian, just showed up.
So Pedro shows up here sometime in August?
From what I hear, he showed up like the day before classes started.
Pedro came to Gainesville, opened up a lease at Spyglass Apartments, and enrolled.
He initially claimed that he and Christian Aguilar had a heated argument, leading Christian to request being dropped off. At first, Bravo insisted the confrontation was only verbal, but as detectives pressed him further, his story started to unravel, revealing a series of inconsistencies and changing details. Bravo described how he had commented on another girl Christian had liked for 3 years, which triggered the argument. He claimed that Christian demanded to get out of the car, and Bravo obliged, dropping him off on the side of the road. However, when police asked about the confrontation's nature, Bravo admitted he had lost control and punched Christian, supposedly just once, before letting him go. But the detective wasn't convinced. When asked how many times he struck Christian, Bravo hesitated, then confessed to hitting him multiple times.
I have to tell you one thing. Okay. Like in the scuffle with Chris, it wasn't just really an argument. I made the comment about the girl that he has a crush on, and he got angry at that. But then he came back with, maybe you should just kill yourself. And that's when I turned around and punched him straight in the face. It was 1 or 2 punches, and after that, I'd slow down and be like every now and again.
But he was barely breathing, or do you know if he was breathing at all? Or
I remember he wasn't breathing like normally breathing, but he was barely breathing.
When the detective looked at his hands, he had no marks on it.
Put your hands out like this for me.
It wasn't just punching.
What else was it?
It wasn't just fists, it was like my palms, my elbows.
As the questioning intensified, Bravo's account shifted yet again. He admitted to stepping out of the car and continuing to punch Christian until, according to him, Christian was left motionless on the ground. Bravo's statement included a haunting reflection, "I really hope he's okay." When I left the scene, I just kept going until I could see he was okay, but couldn't move anymore. At one point, Bravo let slip a chilling hope, telling the detective he would be happy if Christian were merely lost, expressing a twisted form of regret while still avoiding full accountability.
Digital forensics person, investigator. He was able to get a hold of the 2 carriers. We had a search warrant for the phone for both the victim, for Christians, and for Pedro Bravo's. He was able to determine that they were both in the same location for a long period of time, which was Walmart on Northwest 13th Street at the time. He was able to tell that Christian's phone was turned off intentionally. We started doing search warrants for his residence, his apartment that he shared. We located equipment and items belonging to Christian that were hidden in a closet inside of an empty suitcase, just to kind of confirm that something foul play had happened.
I've been doing this for 30 years. I know when somebody's coming back, when they ain't coming back, they ain't coming back. You know he's not coming back.
On a subsequent search warrant, we found capsules of like a sleeping pills that had been taken apart. Powder had been poured out of it, and these had been disposed of in the trash. Found a receipt for a shovel, where he purchased the shovel, purchased the pills.
Several days before Christian's disappearance, we can confirm that Pedro Bravo did purchase a shovel and a roll of duct tape.
Adding to the chilling nature of the case, Bravo recounted to an investigator that after leaving Christian behind, he was really mad and annoyed and didn't care to look back. Despite expressing some remorse, Bravo's actions in the days following Christian's disappearance painted a starkly different picture. That night, he claimed he couldn't sleep, taking sleeping pills to calm himself. Even after learning that Christian hadn't returned to his dorm, Bravo's response to Erica Freeman, Christian's girlfriend, remained dismissive, saying, "The last I saw of him, I dropped him off." Pedro told Detective Roberts that after leaving Best Buy, the two had picked up a mysterious hitchhiker, an older man with grey hair, possibly in his 50s or 60s. According to Pedro, this stranger sat quietly in the back seat, playing with duct tape for reasons Pedro didn't explain. After dropping the hitchhiker off, Pedro said the two friends had a heated argument about personal matters. Christian, frustrated, demanded to be let out of the car near a four-wheeler dealership on the outskirts of Gainesville. He left Christian there, by the edge of the woods, and never saw him again. But there were many reasons to doubt Pedro's story. As the last person to have seen Christian, Pedro became a central figure in the investigation. Police asked him to retrace his steps, leading them down the same roads he and Christian had traveled that night. During the interview, Pedro revealed something more troubling. He admitted to having suicidal thoughts and claimed he wanted to talk to Christian about them. Under the Baker Act, Pedro was taken into custody for 72 hours, while detectives continued to piece together the mysterious events of that night.
I hit him in the face and I made him get out. And then,
But there's more to that, and I think that you need to be honest about it. You need to tell me what else happened, because something else happened besides just that. Okay? Something else happened, and you need to be honest with it, because if that's all that happened, he would have went somewhere, called the police to get his phone and to get his stuff. We know that he's not coming back, okay? I know he's not coming back. I've been doing this for too long. I've been doing this for 30 years. I know when somebody's coming back, when they ain't coming back, he ain't coming back. You know he's not coming back. You need to tell the truth. We can help you a little bit as far as if you can explain things. But just to find him in a couple of weeks and not be able to explain it, Pete, you got to tell the truth.
will I still be able to go home with my parents tonight if I...
I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that you can go home tonight, okay? You know, it's something that we got to work on, okay?
As the days passed with no sign of Christian, his family and friends took desperate measures to find him, rallying under the hashtag #HelpFindChris. Social media erupted witty posts, urging volunteers to join the search efforts and share any potential sightings. The campaign spread quickly, amassing support and amplifying the sense of urgency. People from all over Florida and beyond mobilized to search every lead, hoping that someone, somewhere, might know something. In the meantime, official search teams were combing the vast wooded areas Pedro claimed to have last seen Christian. The terrain was unforgiving, a tangled expanse of dense vegetation, waterways, and lurking dangers. With alligators, rattlesnakes, and water moccasins abundant in these woods, even a minor injury could turn perilous. The search conditions were grim, but the community, Christian's family, and countless volunteers refused to give up hope. Despite the seemingly insurmountable obstacles, they pressed on, driven by the hope of finding Christian and the collective determination of the hashtag #HelpFindChris campaign.
Good morning, Firebirds. I'm Melissa Campaña, and today is September 24th, 2012. As you may all know, Doral Academy alumni Christian Aguilar has been missing since this past Thursday. Today's show will slowly be informing our student body on what we can do to help. It is important that we continue to mention him in our prayers and continue to hope for the best. Mr. Rodriguez will now address our student body on this event that has our entire school very concerned.
Good morning, students. I'm saddened to report this morning that one of our former graduates Christian Aguilar has been reported missing at the University of Florida in Gainesville. As you know, this is a very, very difficult time for the family, and his brother, one of our students here currently at Doral, are up in Gainesville at the moment and spending a lot of time working with local authorities to search for Christian. The school has responded by sending several teachers up to Gainesville in order to support the efforts of the search that is currently taking place. We're very hesitant, and I know many students want to support Alex and make sure that they are involved in the process of helping the search. Unfortunately, the area that is being searched is 85 square miles. It's a heavily wooded area. It's an area that contains alligators, snakes, and other things that can be harmful to students. So what we're asking our student body to do today is to support Alex and his family in prayers, and also to make sure that we, together as an entire Doral community, support the authorities in getting them any information that may lead to the whereabouts of Christian. Today I'll be working with our counseling staff in order to make sure that any students that need support during this time that is difficult for all of us have the appropriate counseling. In addition, the school is starting a fund that will support the family of Christian and Alex in their search and in their efforts. So the best thing for us to do at the moment is to keep the family in our prayers, to make sure that we're all aware of any information that may come about, so that we can get that to the local authorities in Gainesville. Again, students, we're all one big Doral family, and I know that you'll support us all in our efforts to find Christian. Thank you.
Detectives expanded their search. Helicopters scanned the dense terrain, while hundreds of volunteers, including Christian's family members from Miami, combed through the area.
Pasaban los días sin que contestara el teléfono, no tenía ni idea de dónde estaba. Yo le di al padre de Cristian el rosario que mi mamá me había dado y Carlos se lo puso alrededor del cuello. A medida que pasaron los días, él siempre tenía el rosario puesto y nunca perdía la esperanza. Y Carlos Aguilar me decía, ¿tú ves este rosario, Elena?
To some degree, this is a search to see within the first day or two, maybe the first 48 hours, it was a search to see if Christian could be found alive. Beyond 48 hours, probably the statistics would tell us, you know, we're not looking for a live body, but we're looking for remains.
The most difficult part of that information is that we literally had thousands of volunteers that came from Miami, that came from Florida, you know, all sorts of places are in Florida and around. And to tell those people, look, we're not searching for Christian alive anymore.
Then came a grim discovery. Christian's phone had been intentionally powered off. Detective Gurkel from the Gainesville Police Department noted that the phone's abrupt shutdown was a strong indicator of foul play. The investigation had taken a much darker turn. Detectives, with Pedro's consent, searched his phone and collaborated with his carrier service to retrace his steps on the night Christian disappeared.
We're trying to understand the circumstances behind why we think Christian's missing. So we get permission from Pedro to search his cell phone. By using the information that's on Pedro's phone and the information that we got from his cell phone carrier, I was able to actually start retracing his steps. And it's starting to really contradict what he's telling us. It's very clear based on the location data that we got from the cell carrier and from Pedro's cell phone that he was at this Walmart. It was almost good enough to put him in the parking lot. I used the data to trace Pedro actually eventually going back to his house, right? Just not the route that he said, just not the story that he gave us. And interestingly, he goes home, he's there for a little bit, and then he leaves his house again. And he makes his way out to another major road in Gainesville, Archer Road, and then his cell tower data stops, it cuts off. So it's all of his location tracking from the carrier stops. Up until the next morning when he returned to his apartment. The story that he's given Randy is that his phone dies in the phone extraction. I'm looking at this file by file and I stumble upon this battery log. The battery log is showing not only was his phone not dead, I can see that he's charging it. I also find an app usage log. What was really interesting for us is that on the evening that Christian was last seen and then disappears, Pedro's phone shows about a 48-minute usage of his flashlight app. The flashlight app is an app that allows the phone to project light from its flash that's associated with the camera. I was able to take the app usage and couple it with the battery log. By correlating the battery drain on the phone, which during that 24-hour period, there was never another time where the battery drained that significantly, other than roughly between 11 p.m. and midnight, right? So that's when we see the battery being drained significantly, and that battery drain time matches up with the app usage time.
Why would somebody need their flashlight app on for 45 minutes? It's unusual.
But the question is, how come someone would use their flashlight for so long? This suggests that he may have been using it in a dark or wooded area. Pedro was released from his psychiatric hold, but detectives had seen enough. His behavior was erratic, and his story kept shifting. In a subsequent interview, Pedro's narrative changed once again. He now claimed that after dropping off the hitchhiker, the argument between him and Christian escalated into violence. According to Pedro, he had pulled over, stepped out of the car, and punched Christian in the face. "I just kept punching him," Pedro admitted in a recorded interview. "I could see he was okay but wouldn't get up anytime soon, so I left him there." Pedro's casual demeanor and lack of remorse sent shivers down the detectives' spines. How could he be so indifferent toward his friend's well-being? By now, the inconsistencies in Pedro's story were glaring. Some things were not adding up, Detective Gerkel recalled. As the investigation entered its fourth day, detectives began to unravel the real motive behind Pedro's actions. The love triangle between Pedro, Christian, and Erica Freeman, a girl they both had feelings for, revealed deep-seated tensions. Pedro and Erica had dated in high school, but after they broke up, Erica and Christian became a couple. This betrayal ate away at Pedro, fueling his resentment toward his former friend. To buy more time, investigators charged Pedro with failure to render aid, based on his admission of leaving Christian incapacitated.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning. Are you Pedro Bravo? Yes, sir. Okay, you've been accused of the offense of refusing to provide medical care with the intent to avoid, delay, hinder, or obstruct any investigation of a criminal activity. A warrant had been issued and endorsed at $100,000. It does indicate it is subject to adjustment with provision of no contact with the victim by Judge Nylon. The first appearance is, the purpose of it is to determine probable cause, and then to go ahead, and if there is probable cause, go ahead and set a bond, starting off with consideration.
A search warrant was obtained for Pedro's vehicle, and what they found inside raised even more suspicions. Among the items in the car were a Gatorade bottle, duct tape, and, perhaps most tellingly, dirt and limestone stuck to the vehicle's undercarriage. This sediment was later identified as coming from Levy County, an area known for its remote, rugged landscape. Investigators uncovered a critical series of actions that deepened their suspicions of Pedro Bravo. On the evening Christian Aguilar went missing, Bravo reportedly stopped at a McDonald's, evidenced by a receipt later found in his car. Initially, this seemed like an innocent detail, but surveillance footage later revealed Bravo at a nearby car wash shortly after. There, he was seen meticulously cleaning the underside of his vehicle, a particularly telling move. For investigators, Bravo's thorough attention to cleaning suggested a deliberate attempt to eliminate potential evidence. This meticulous car wash stop, paired with the McDonald's receipt, didn't align with his story of a quick meal stop following an argument with Christian. Instead, it pointed to a more intentional cover-up, reinforcing investigators' suspicions and helping them build a clearer picture of the tragic events that had transpired. What seemed like an ordinary task suddenly took on a sinister dimension when investigators uncovered evidence pointing to Pedro Bravo's attempt to erase any connection to Christian Aguilar. On October 15, 2012, nearly a month after Christian Aguilar's disappearance, a grim discovery was made in the dense woods near Levy County, Florida. Two individuals walking through the area were struck by a foul odor. Initially thinking it was a decomposing animal, They soon realized they had stumbled upon something far more sinister. In a shallow grave lay human remains, skeletal and decayed, hidden away from sight. Alarmed, they immediately contacted the local authorities. The detectives soon discovered that the area where Pedro led Christian was an expansive, secluded property shrouded in complete darkness. No streetlights, no nearby sources of light, just an unsettling, pitch-black void. This eerie setting hinted at careful planning as investigators connected a critical detail. Pedro's phone data showed extensive flashlight app use, revealing that he had navigated the pitch darkness with intent. This small but significant clue helped investigators piece together the chilling reality of Pedro's actions that night.
It's a very large area of property out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's nothing, no light, nothing out there. It's in pitch dark. So we believe that the reason that flashlight app was on for 45 minutes was he was using that to get rid of Christian's body.
Detectives arrived at the scene and quickly identified the remains as those of Christian Aguilar. Though the body had decomposed significantly, the clothing matched what Christian had been wearing on the day he vanished. DNA samples taken from a hip joint, along with dental records, confirmed the family's worst fears. Christian was no longer missing. He had been murdered. At the burial site, investigators found a chilling clue: duct tape near the remains. This discovery would later be crucial in tying Pedro Bravo to the crime. Forensic analysts at the crime lab compared the duct tape at the scene with the roll found in Bravo's car. The result was undeniable. The tape came from the same source. With this, detectives began to see the crime in a much darker light. Initially, police believed that Christian's death had been an impulsive act, a crime of passion fueled by Pedro's jealousy and rage. But the discovery of a seemingly innocuous Gatorade bottle changed everything. Tests revealed that the bottle was laced with sedatives, indicating a more deliberate, premeditated plan to incapacitate Christian.
In the search of Pedro Bravo's car, police find an almost empty Gatorade bottle that contained Gatorade, acetaminophen, and diphenhydramine or Benadryl. In the backseat floor of Pedro Bravo's car, there are floor mats. On the floor mats, it's clear that he has freshly applied large quantities of paint.
When we took video and pictures of that under a black light, and it fluoresced that there was blood on the carpet in the rear of the vehicle.
But that wasn't all. Further forensic analysis of the scene revealed that Christian's death had been far more brutal than Pedro initially claimed. Fluid seeping from Christian's lungs onto the vehicle's carpet showed signs of internal bleeding, likely caused by strangulation. The violent confrontation Pedro had described was only a fraction of the true horror of what had unfolded that night. According to Angelo, Bravo had recounted the events leading up to Christian's death with disturbing precision. Bravo had reportedly told Angelo that he pretended to reach for something in the back seat, only to then slip a moving strap around Christian's neck. Using the seat for leverage, Bravo watched the clock on his car radio as he held Christian until he stopped moving, calculating that it took around 13 minutes for him to die.
Thank you. We brought you just a few moments ago just that brief glimpse at that news conference that was going on in Gainesville regarding the missing University of Florida College freshman.
Good morning, Durham Academy. Today, September 27, 2012. In regards to Christian Aguilar's disappearance, investigators now released new information saying that the suspect purchased a shovel and duct tape days prior to Christian's disappearance.
Following the murder, Bravo took deliberate steps to cover his tracks. Angelo testified that Bravo admitted to burying Christian in a shallow grave, placing a shrub and rock over the site to make it appear undisturbed. Even more unsettling, Angelo led investigators to the exact location where Bravo claimed to have stashed the shovel, underneath a wooden walkway at his apartment complex. Sure enough, detectives recovered a shovel from the location, a critical piece of evidence that reinforced the premeditated nature of the crime.
Former gang member speaks about the days he shared a cell with Pedro Bravo.
Did he ever discuss with you whether or not he made a plan about killing Chris?
Yes, sir.
I am a monster for having hurt Chris the way I did, and monsters shouldn't exist in this world. Does that sound like the letter he read to you?
Yes, sir.
Bravo, who was immediately suspected of the killing, wrote that suicide note, which was found in his jail cell just days after his arrest, and he allegedly didn't hold things back with his cellmate.
I think originally he said that he was going to try to poison him with a mixture of sleeping pills and pesticide and mixed with soda or something, like I guess soda. And his backup plan was to have a knife, you know, to cut his throat in case it didn't work.
Blood was found in Bravo's SUV, where prosecutors believe he was strangled to death, all in a Walmart parking lot where Bravo was seen on video buying a shovel.
You know, after he had got back in the driver's seat and he was, you know, I guess riding around to dispose of the body, that it was making a sound like, and that's the reason that he held on to the driving strap while he was riding around, because it freaked him out.
Bravo allegedly recounted the details of Christian Aguilar's murder to his cellmate, revealing chilling specifics about the night of the crime.
Pedro Bravo admitted to another inmate, who we called during the trial, is that after Christian Aguilar kind of fell asleep or became very drowsy from that cocktail of poison that he had given him, that he, Pedro Bravo, got into the backseat of the car, took a tow strap, essentially a strap that one would strap something down in a pickup truck, put it over the seat, put it around Christian's neck, braced Pedro Bravo's knees against the back of Christian Aguilar's seat, and leaned back as hard as he could, cutting off his circulation in his airway, in his throat, and murdered him in that parking lot.
The chilling testimony continued as Angelo described Bravo's actions after the murder. Bravo allegedly confessed that he threw away his shoes in a public trash can, washed his truck to remove any physical evidence, and then calmly grabbed something to eat as if nothing had happened. The cold detachment in Bravo's behavior after the murder underscored the gravity of his actions, and each piece of this testimony painted a harrowing picture for the jury, leaving little doubt about his guilt. Investigators later concluded that Pedro Bravo likely killed Christian Aguilar in the Walmart parking lot. Surveillance footage showed Bravo's car parked there for an unusual length of time, long enough to raise suspicions about what took place. This footage, combined with other evidence, suggested that Bravo may have chosen this spot to carry out his intentions away from immediate witnesses, setting the stage for the tragic events that followed. As the investigation unfolded, the weight of evidence against Pedro Bravo intensified, revealing a pattern of contradictions in his statements and a timeline that starkly contradicted his claims. This mounting pressure set the stage for a pivotal courtroom battle, where the truth would finally be put to the test.
And we were able to see Pedro Bravo's vehicle pull into the parking lot, sit for a period of time, and then he pulled up to the next row of parking places. You can't see in the car, it's just too long of a distance from the surveillance video, but you can make out the vehicle. They both sit there for a long period of time, probably 60 to 90 minutes.
On August 4, 2014, nearly 2 years after Christian Aguilar's disappearance, Pedro Bravo faced a murder trial. The courtroom was tense as the prosecution methodically unraveled the chilling details of Bravo's actions. What began as a simple missing person case had evolved into a shocking crime of jealousy and premeditation.
You took his present, everything he was, and you took his future, everything that he would have.
Pedro Bravo took the stand as the sole defense witness, offering a final effort to present his side of the story. During his testimony, Bravo attempted to downplay his involvement, maintaining that he and Christian had only gotten into an argument.
The discussion is getting very heated now. I'm arguing with him and he's arguing with me. I turn around and I hit him in the nose with my left fist.
While you're driving?
While I'm driving, yes.
Did he sustain any injury when you hit him in the nose?
His nose started bleeding, yes. At this point, I pull over to the left and I pull into a small driveway with a building and some skinny trees.
What happened next?
I went to sleep. I believe I got a call around 4 o'clock in the morning. Erica was calling me. She said, have I heard from Chris? That I know what was going on with Chris. He hasn't been back in his dorm room. He hasn't been anywhere. His room. She said, I asked her why was she trying to ask about Chris, why is her concern? And she said because his roommate said he didn't come back. I thought nothing of it. I thought he probably just decided not to go home, or probably went somewhere else, or probably got lost along the way. I'd tell her I don't know.
His defense sought to cast doubt on the prosecution's case, emphasizing inconsistencies in Bravo's various statements and suggesting alternate explanations for Christian's disappearance. However, Bravo's testimony did little to shift the jury's perception, given the overwhelming physical evidence and witness testimonies that painted a detailed picture of the crime. His defense's reliance on his own account ultimately underscored the premeditated and calculated nature of the act, solidifying the prosecution's case in the jury's eyes. The defense argued that while Pedro Bravo admitted to a physical altercation with Christian, he did not actually kill him. They contended that the duct tape found in Bravo's vehicle was simply there to seal his cracked windshield, suggesting it was unrelated to any sinister purpose. Additionally, the defense claimed the shovel Bravo had purchased was intended for him to dig his own grave, a claim meant to evoke sympathy and portray him as someone struggling with personal issues rather than plotting a murder. Despite these explanations, the prosecution countered by presenting evidence showing that the duct tape roll matched the tape found at Christian's burial site. Moreover, witness testimony and Bravo's cellmate's account of his confession painted a very different picture, one of premeditation and planning. These factors combined made the defense's explanations appear implausible, strengthening the case against Bravo. A pivotal moment in the trial came when one of Bravo's journal entries was read aloud to the court. In it, he wrote, "I am a monster for having hurt Christian." These words offered a glimpse into Bravo's twisted mindset, revealing a level of remorse that was at odds with the calculated steps he had taken to murder his friend. The prosecution presented a compelling case, showing how Bravo had carefully planned Christian's murder. The sedatives found in the Gatorade bottle, the shovel receipt, and the duct tape matching what was found at the crime scene all painted a picture of premeditation. This wasn't a crime of passion, but a deliberate act to eliminate Christian's jealousy and obsession with Erica Freeman. After weeks of testimony and damning evidence, it took the jury only 3 hours to convict Pedro Bravo of first-degree murder. At the age of 20, Bravo was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Although justice was served, Christian's family found little solace in the outcome. As Christian's father expressed, "We didn't celebrate." There was nothing to celebrate. The conviction could never heal the wound left by their son's loss, and Bravo's sentencing was just another chapter in the tragedy of Christian's untimely death.
I cannot say that Pedro's family, they are monsters or that they are bad people. What their son did is wrong. I hope he never did it. Unfortunately, he did, but he destroyed 2 families with that actions.
The case of Christian Aguilar is a haunting reminder of how jealousy and unrequited love can spiral into something irreversibly tragic. For the Aguilar family, that dark day, September 20th, 2012, marked the end of the life they once knew. "Our life was destroyed on September 20th, 2012, said Christian's father, Carlos Aguilar. "He made the most terrible decision for me and my family," Christian's mother, Claudia, added, capturing the profound and permanent impact of Bravo's actions on those who loved Christian most. Throughout the investigation, what began as a case of 2 friends meeting to clear the air unraveled into a chilling story of premeditated violence. Pedro Bravo's actions, from his alleged use of sedatives to the calculated purchase of a shovel and disturbing confessions to cellmates, painted a picture of a young man consumed by a dangerous obsession. The life sentence handed down to Pedro Bravo may serve as a form of closure in the eyes of the law. But for Christian's family, no verdict could ever truly undo the devastation they've faced. For them, the sentencing marked only the end of a painful chapter in a story that forever altered their lives. In remembrance of Christian Aguilar, the University of Florida held a heartfelt 1-year memorial service on October 12, 2013. This ceremony took place at the university auditorium, drawing together friends, family, and members of the university community to honor Christian's memory. As of today, the key people in Christian Aguilar's tragic case each have their own stories moving forward. Christian's family, particularly his parents, Carlos and Claudia, continue to honor his memory. In a recent interview, Carlos and Claudia shared that the pain of losing their son still resonates, though they've worked to uphold his legacy.
It did kill my son. I wish he can repent I wish he can realize that he destroyed his family and my family. I mean, able to once say the truth and accept what he did.
His younger brother even attended the University of Florida, carrying forward the family's ties to Christian's dreams and aspirations. Erica Fryman, Christian's girlfriend at the time, has also moved on from the events, though she has continued to speak about Christian's memory and the tragic series of events. She has worked in various positions and aims to live a life of resilience and purpose. Pedro Bravo, convicted of first-degree murder, remains in prison serving his life sentence without parole. Despite the evidence against him, Bravo has continued to deny responsibility for Christian's death, maintaining that he did not kill his friend. Even at his sentencing, in a recent interview, he speaks about Christian's family.
Christian's parents, they think you are a monster, that you have no remorse. What do you say to them now?
I can't come close to understanding what it feels like to lose a son. There's no words that I could offer to try and make things better, or make that pain go away, because maybe that pain shouldn't go away. That pain should stay there, because at least when you have that pain, that person's still in your life.
Christian's legacy is a bittersweet reminder of the profound impact he had on those around him. His story may have ended in tragedy, but his memory lives on, etched into the hearts of his family, friends, and all who continue to honor his life.